Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you, my kids? It is a new episode of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam life. Let's go in episode number 10, and its name is The Boycott in Shab Abi Talib. Today, before we start, it is the Prophet Muhammad life. So what should we say when we say Muhammad? When you hear the name of Muhammad, you have to say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Let me hear you say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Last episode, we knew that the Kuffar returned from Al-Habasha very angry. They had not been able to convince the king of Al-Habasha, An-Najashi, to send the Muslims back to Mecca. So they were very, very angry. Yes, you know that. They decided that they needed something, a new idea, a new way to hurt the Muslims so that they would leave Islam. One of the evil kuffar finally said, I've got it. I know what to do. There is still Muslims here in Mecca, and Muhammad and his family are still here too. They didn't go to Al-Habasha. So what should we do? What do you guys think? If we boycott the Muslims and we will not buy from them or trade with them or sell them any food either, that way they will starve to death and then they will have to leave Islam and we won't marry from them either or sit with them or have anything to do with them, not until they go back to worshipping the idols. Not until Muhammad's family turns Muhammad over to us so that we can kill him. Only then will we go back to being their friends and things will go back to normal. The other kuffar thought this boycott idea was an excellent idea. Oh, let's write it down on a paper and hang it up at the Kaaba. That way everybody will know the plan and stick to it, they said. And so they wrote down their evil plan and hung up at the Kaaba. It is about what? The boycott. No one will buy or sell anything from Muslims, and no one will get married from any one of the Muslims. So this boycott was evil idea. The poor Muslims went to buy food, but the kuffar would not talk to them or even sell them any piece of food. And the kuffar would not buy from the Muslims either. The Muslims would not have any money. And so they had very little food and they began to grow weaker and weaker and lose weight. When they got very hungry, they had to eat the leaves of trees. Sometimes the traders outside of Mecca would come and they would agree to sell some things to Muslims. The Muslims would go secretly and buy some food. When a Muslim was able to get food, he or she would share it with all the other Muslims. Why? You know that? Because a Muslim has the best of manners and he loves for others what he loves for himself. يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. He loves for the others what he loves for himself. For 3 very long years, the Muslims endured this boycott, staying in valley called Sham Abi Talib. For 3 years, they struggled to find food and eat. But even though things were very hard for the Muslims would not give up and leave Islam. No matter what the kuffar do to us, we will never stop worshipping Allah. All the Muslims cared about what Allah likes, so they could go to Jannah. When things were very hard, the Muslims would remind themselves that Jannah had everything they could ever want and more than that, and that the food in Jannah was 1,000 times better than food of this life. And so the Muslims were patient. Not a single Muslim gave up. Not a single Muslim went back to Kuffar and said he would listen to them and leave Islam. Instead, the Muslims knew they were the ones who were right and that Allah would make a way for them. They knew that even if their bodies were getting weaker, their hearts were getting stronger because of their faith. Finally, one day, 5 men from Kuffar had enough of this boycott. This agreement is really unfair and oppressive, they said. How can we eat and fill our bellies with the food and drink while we know that Muhammad and the Muslims are starving and are trapped? No matter what, they are still our people. They are still our people, and some of them are our relatives. We have to end this. So the next day, the 5 men went to where the people of Mecca would gather. They went where all people are gathering. One of them called out, saying, "Is it fair that we eat and clothe ourselves while people from our relatives are dying from hunger, unable to buy or sell? This unjust boycott will be cancelled, and we have nothing to do with it." Meanwhile, Prophet Muhammad told his uncle Abu Talib to tell the people of Mecca to check on the paper of the boycott on which was hung on Kaaba, and he said that there is something new there. The Prophet Muhammad said that the angel Jibril had come down and had told him that they would find the paper had been eaten by the ants. By the ants, yes. So Abu Talib went to the people of Mecca and said, "I have come to know from Muhammad that Allah has sent the ants to eat the paper you have hung at the Kaaba, except for the word Allah. If Muhammad has spoken wrongfully and lied, we will turn him over to you. But if it turns out that he is right and he has said the truth, then this boycott should be cancelled." The kuffar agreed and they checked on the paper. And what did they see? The ants had eaten all of the paper except the word Bismik Allahum, in the name of Allah. The kuffar realized that Allah was the one who did this. So they stopped their boycott, and even though the kuffar had seen the miracle with their own eyes, they still refused to believe. But what do you think is going to happen next? The unfolding events will be revealed in the upcoming episode, and we will talk about the next episode, inshallah. I don't know when, but we will have a next episode, inshallah. So to be continued. See you next time, and say with me, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.